the National Aboriginal Community-Controlled Health Organisation Oka Day Conference, with the theme, Men's Health Our Way. Let's own it. The NACCHO conference was an important opportunity to exchange information, ideas and strategies on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander male health. Aboriginal TV Channel 4 presents highlights from the conference, held at the Hilton Hotel, Darwin.
Time's not on Aboriginal men's side, and I keep saying that. I mean, we've got the lowest life expectancy gap compared with non-Aboriginal men throughout the country. Nationally, it's 10 years. Here in the Northern Territory, it's actually 16 years. Difference between Aboriginal Territorian men and non-Indigenous Territorian men. So, we've got our own issues, and, some of those diseases are critical and actually can be preventable diseases, such as cardiovascular, respiratory, cutting back, encouraging our guys to cut back on cigarettes and alcohol and all those sorts of things. So we treat these forums as serious stuff. It's not a talk fest. And as a NACCHO board director and one of the Aboriginal men that are on the board of NACCHO, we want concrete solutions and strategies so that we can take to the board and to government for their consideration, and hopefully set up a national strong Aboriginal men's network that can regularly come together, talk about all those issues and see how we can implement those back at local regional levels.
Good morning, everyone. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Larrakia people, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I also want to pay my respects to all of you from the different parts of Australia that you've travelled from to be here. When we're young, and I look around at some of the young faces in this room, at that age we are immortal. When we get older and something happens to us, or somebody within our midst dies unexpectedly because of poor health, we suddenly realise how vulnerable we are, and that the death is only one breath away. On average, we are dying more than 10 years younger than our non-Indigenous counterparts. And as we heard from John, 16 years here, with the majority of deaths occurring in our middle years. The leading killers are circulatory failure, cancer, injury, diabetes and respiratory diseases. Infant Indigenous boys die at a rate almost double that of non-Indigenous boys. That is why the government has invested $94 million in the Better Start to Life initiative to support families. This initiative will progressively increase the number of new direction services from 85 to 136 sites, and the Australian Nurse Family Partnership Program from 3 sites to 13. In addition, the Indigenous Australian Health Program has allocated $12 million to support the implementation of better, more integrated early childhood services called Connected Beginnings. A good foundation in health prevention and regular checkups will help children to do better at school, which in turn gives them more choice in further education and work opportunities down the track. I believe that strong children will lead to strong teenagers, who in turn will lead to strong adults and strong communities. While I want much more work to be done to improve renal health, among my other top priorities are hearing, eyesight, and preventable hospital admissions. But from today, I will also make the health of Indigenous men a top priority as well, and we'll pull together men from across the nation to work on developing a strategy that we can infuse into Commonwealth health and encourage state and territory healths to adopt similar approaches, because we have survived this long as a nation of people. But everyone in this room, and some of you have heard me say this, every one of you in this room is a living and walking history book. You are the font of your community, the history of your community, and we need to keep you here for much longer. We don't write our history, we talk our history and we share it.
Yeah, one of the key things out of this NACCHO Maloka Day is really getting men together to talk about some of the issues that's happening at home. And I think one of the key things we have is getting all the men across the nation and really coming out and working on strategies and working on which programs are working, but also having action from this. We've sort of had enough of the conferences out there talking about the statistics of Aboriginal men and Aboriginal society, but it's about what action, and we've got to own this.
So, what is Deadly Choices? Deadly Choices is a campaign developed to encourage Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community to make healthy lifestyle choices that would increase the life expectancy while also preventing and managing chronic illness. Deadly Choices is an early intervention and prevention program that complements the Nilla Health Services clinical programs. Deadly Choices aims to empower Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to make healthy choices for themselves and their family. And key to this is to encourage our people to stop smoking, to eat good food, and to exercise daily. Deadly Choices also encourages our people to access their local community-controlled health service and to complete an annual health check. A variety of programs are designed to teach about making healthy choices, such as the cooking programs, and all events held under the Deadly Choices banner are smoke and alcohol-free events. Deadly Choices campaign encourages Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to make deadly, healthy choices to tackle chronic disease and smoking.
We're going to showcase another successful Aboriginal male health program, and that is the Strong Fella program from Catherine. This is Andy Blaney and Patrick Arquette.
Despite the general affluence and high living standards for most of Australians, many Indigenous Australians continue to live in areas without sanitation, without clean drinking water, electricity, communications, telecommunications, heating or even adequate shelter. This is exacerbated by a history of racism, inequalities and exclusion from mainstream health services are significant factors in the formation of NACCHOs, AMSs. It was these issues and more that drove the men of Catherine and of the NT to establish a service that addressed their health needs as they saw them. And the Worley Male Health Countrymen's program was established and later to change to the Strongbella as we are now. Our vision is that Strongbella is a health-focused cultural centre for Indigenous males in Catherine. The priority of Strongbella is to engage Indigenous males and to improve health outcomes for these males in a culturally sensitive manner.
It's really easy for someone to say, I'm culturally appropriate. But we need to be culturally responsive, otherwise culturally appropriate means nothing. So we need to actually add on and think about how are we then culturally responsive in terms of our clientele.
Through the strengthening of cultural ties to the region, it is hoped that Indigenous males can take their rightful place as leaders, elders and valued family members within the community.
So in terms of Indigenous incarceration, we've been doing this for 9 years. So we will go to court and we will say to the judge, do not send this man to jail. And the judge would just spell out what we need to do. So the judge will say he needs ongoing counselling, he needs domestic violence, he needs this, this and this. And we sign off on that. So rather than that male going to jail, that male comes to Strongbella. So when the other speakers started talking about social emotional well-being, I think that underpins us, you know, and like, we need to invest in males, and we obviously do that, but we can't do that forever. So when we get a male up to this level, guess what we say to him? Hey brother, who are the females in your life? How can we help you create a stronger family? And that's the bigger picture stuff. We must help men get to a level where they're quite capable of saying, I can create a stronger family where I live. That's the big picture stuff.
I think Strongbella has come a long way. They're going to be around for a while to come yet, and we get visitors from all over the country, you know, from over Western Australia border, Broome and Halls Creek. They come there and visit us too, and we get people from the centre and Tennant Creek and Alice Springs, and plus we got people coming from the Arnhem Land region and Nooka and Bullman and Bamilli and Beswick. Plus we get people from the top end here and from the Darwin. They always come to Strongbella. They always come there, and we accept anybody, you know. If they've got a health problem, they come to us. Our blokes look after them straight away and give them whatever they might be short of medicine or they didn't go to the clinic where they come from. We provide that service for them. is for anybody. We look after everybody.
There have been a lot of fantastic speakers up there and with their presentations, looking at things from mental health to smoking rates, cancer rates, everything, just right across the board, so that no issues off the table. And that's what we're here for, so that everybody can share experiences and solutions to problems.
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other.
It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more! I want to run through 10 really important things that we think that men can do to help stop the violence that's happening in our community. Now, it's a pretty horrible thing, the violence that we are confronted with, but I want to ask you today, get a piece of paper out, put it in front of you, write down men on top of it and write the numbers 1 to 10, and when I read out those 10 things, you put a cross or a tick next to one of those numbers, whether you think that you're actually doing that. It's not wrong, my brothers, to say that you are not doing it. It's not wrong to say that. It is wrong to know that it's something we should be doing and then not doing it, So please do that, because it'd be really good if this group, and I know, looking at you today, there are perpetrators in the room, I know that, and I'm sorry that that's the way that it is. But wouldn't it be really good if 100 men walked out of here today and it stopped in their space that didn't happen? If they told someone else and they stopped it as well, and 100 became 200, 200 became 400, and so on. They're really important things to do. So these are 10 things. These are 10 things that men can do to prevent violence against women. This is what you can do. First thing, number 1, you can realise that gender violence is a men's issue that affects women that you can care about. So you need to do something about that. You need to realise that that gender violence is a men's issue. So it's your responsibility to do something about it. Yes or no? Will you do that? Number 2, don't remain silent. Confront the abusive behaviour of other men. That's not easy to do, but there's strategies and ways in which you can do that. Just a simple strategy is distraction. You see people argue and carrying on, that's going to lead to something. You can interfere and say, hey, can you just tell me I'm looking for Woolworths, or I'm looking, try and distract people. So little things like that can work. So don't remain silent, will you? Understand how your own attitudes and actions may support sexism and violence and work towards changing them. Yes or no, will you do that? Will you work towards changing your attitudes about it? Number 4, gently offer your help and support if you suspect a woman close to you, maybe in your family, is being abused, gently offer your help and support. Number 5, respect women and treat them as equals. Will you be able to do that, yes or no? Support women who are working to end all forms of gender violence. Be supportive to them. Number 7, recognise and speak out against homophobia and gay bashing. It's not an easy one to do. I know it's a big issue at the moment with the vote yes, vote no campaign, but you can speak out about it. Number 8, educate yourself and others about masculinity, gender inequality, and the root causes of gender violence. Educate yourself about that. Go online, check those sorts of things and see what you can do. You owe it to your family, you owe it to your children and the women in your family. Mentor and teach boys about how to be men in ways that don't involve degrading or abusing girls and women. So mentor and teach the young boys about it. Say to them that's not a good thing to be doing, yes or no. And then the last one, refuse to purchase any magazine, videos or music or watch things on YouTube that portray women in a degrading or a violent manner. So good thing to not do that. Make a point to yourself that you won't do that. Thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but thank you for your time today. Thank you. So today we make a powerful statement, don't we? We say no more to violence. We need it to stop. We want our children to grow up in a community that's safe. We want them to learn that there are better ways than chaos and violence, you know. I feel really proud to see you stand today like this. I think it's the greatest statement that Indigenous men have made since I've been involved in this work. Thank you so much.
My name's Jack Bullman. My family is Muddy mob from down southwestern New South Wales, and the organisation I work for is Mibinbar, which means men's place in the Eastern Yugambeh language of southeastern Queensland. We set up Mibinbar in 2005. It started off as a action research program. And what it was about creating safe spaces for our lads to be able to get them to engage. There's one of our camps, which we hold national camps annually. We've held 9 of them. We try and get as many lads as we can to these camps over a 4-day period. And there's a lot of educational stuff, but there's also cultural stuff. So, it's a really great mix for lads to get there and be able to talk about their concerns and issues and then be able to action them. So what we're talking about today, anger. I mean, there's some definitions up there, but we all know, we all get angry. I mean, that's something that happens to us, whether we like to admit it or not. And what happens when we do get angry, Do we lash out? Do we try and talk about it? Do we bottle it up inside? Sometimes that's worse. Or anger is also a problem when other people around us are frightened, hurt, or feel they cannot talk to us or disagree with us in case we become angry. We see it all the time. Like people will say, I can't have a yarn to him. I can't have a yarn to her. They just get angry. They don't want to listen to me. It's that sort of stuff. So it really is about being able to try and communicate with each other. And one of the biggest things is, someone mentioned it before, about listening. Talk about that deep listening. Have a listen, because everybody's got a story to tell. In the media, we don't hear a lot about the positive stuff that happens. We always hear about the negative stuff. So what we try and do is talk about celebrating what our lads are doing well in their communities. In pockets around Australia, there's great little programs running, but we never hear about them in other parts of the country. So this is what we try and talk about, is linking up our fellas to be able to say, hey, brother Steve, you got a great program up there in Darwin. I might be in Victoria and Warrnambool, but can you help me with that program that you set up there? And so it's just about, again, coming back to communicating, about transferring that knowledge.
We never had general health problems before colonisation. If you look back at documentaries, if you look back at pictures, all our men were all tall, lean, muscly type men. Now we have problems with obesity, problems with kidney disease and diabetes, and that's all due to what we eat and our lifestyle.
The National Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisation, working towards a healthy future for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people.